Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody is doing awesome. I'm always great because we're talking football and we're talking Garrett Wilson on the draft guide. You guys know Garrett Wilson is, one of my favorite wide receivers. Love me some Chris Olave, CO2, that much more coming out of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Absolutely love both their games, but CO2 was my guy over at Garrett Wilson. Me and my buddy always have a debate on which one is going to be better in the league. So far, Garrett Wilson has the leg up on a CO2, simply due in part to injuries. But I mean, everything we know about a Garrett Wilson, I will touch base because there are a lot of circumstances here on where we should be drafting this man, if we should at all. So definitely follow me. We'll get into that. But draft guide giveaway, telling y'all, you guys want a copy, you got to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment so I know who you are. Even say hi and you'll be entered in to win this draft guide. And then by the end of the week, when we're done with these videos, I will pick a winner of a free draft guide. This thing is a beast. 300 player evaluation, sleepers, my guys, rankings. I'm telling y'all, everybody who's got it absolutely is telling you it is good stuff. So definitely stay on point for that. Drop a comment to get entered in today to win. But let's talk a little Garrett Wilson on a little history lesson based on statistical achievement. He's been very good so far in the NFL, especially with, weaker quarterback play. And that definitely does, indicate that he is a specimen that could eventually be, if he isn't already, quarterback proof in this league. Okay, 2022, he's played 17 games his entire career, never missed a contest, which is absolutely stellar, man. 147 targets, 83 receptions in that rookie season, 1,100 yards, 4 TDs. He did finish as the wide receiver 19, a meek 47 on the boom rate. That's where he kind of falters and fails us a lot of the time, is on these boom rates. You see 2023, 52.9%, followed it up back in 2024 with another 52.9% on that boom rate. As long as we can get him into that 65% of the boom rates, Garrett Wilson would take his game to another level and be that much more trusted in fantasy football. That just means that he does produce in a handful of contests, subset of games, and then does falter in others. So he becomes a liability when he is not booming in those contests, man. Wide receiver 32 in 2023, and then his best campaign with Aaron Rodgers finished as the wide receiver 11 in total points. So it is good in that sense where we are seeing the trajectory move in the right direction for a Garrett Wilson. But now, Aaron Rodgers was, an injured, old, battered Aaron Rodgers was better than any quarterback he's had so far in his time in the pros. But 168 targets in 2023. They just peppered him, and he was able to repay us, but not necessarily great stats to come with it because he didn't score many touchdowns last season with Aaron Rodgers. 154 targets for 101, 1104 in yards and 7 TDs. Definitely his best campaign, 204 points, and then he did have 3 top 10 finishes. Okay, that's kind of where you're seeing, the ladder be for a Garrett Wilson at this point. We do want to see much more upside when it comes to how he does earn his point totals. We want to see more than just, half of his contests being relevant for us. 65% would definitely put him into a better category. This is why you got to understand, when you're seeing a wide receiver 11, that is definitely skewed when we're talking about the point totals. How many times in start-sit fantasy football last year there were so many question marks? Can I trust a Garrett Wilson? Can I play him this week? Okay, and that's the situation when you're talking boom rate. You got to see that consistency on the field. And this year, okay, Aaron Rodgers, he's gone and, gave his best season overall, and he went to Pittsburgh as a free agent. The Jets decided to move on. He did also have a Devontae Adams pulling coverage for 11 games. That is nothing to sneeze at and nothing to sleep on as well. When you put a guy like Devontae Adams on the field, it does pull a lot of coverage from your side, which does indicate potentially why he was able to get these career highs as well with an Aaron Rodgers. So there is a lot of moving parts with this Jets team at this point. Garrett Wilson now, he's given a new contract extension, 4-year, $130 million. So he's locked up with these New York Jets for the foreseeable future. He is a definite good one, but how is this offense going to roll? But let's talk his injury history. Definitely one of the more durable wide receivers in this league that we have seen come in as a rookie. He's only had a handful of injuries, man. Chest rib bruise, grade 1 back in 2022 and 23, elbow bruise, grade 1, and then a pedal ankle sprain, pull, grade 1, also in 2023. So injury risk aside, he is very durable. He does not get injured. We hope that it's going to continue down the case here in 2025. But if we're talking about the reliability of at least getting him on the field and seeing the heaping of volume and targets to come his direction, that is not a question mark for Garrett Wilson whatsoever. He is the standard and stable in consistency in that regard when it comes to health, when it comes to the targets that do come to his direction. So low-level risk for injuries. If we're talking about should we draft him based on health, abso-freaking-lutely. I got no questions, no qualms on the injury history because he just does not get hurt at this point, man. Depth chart purposes for these New York Jets. I mean, out the door is a Davante Adams. In the door is some new talent. They still got Allen Lazard, Josh Reynolds, free agent from those Jacksonville Jaguars, Tyler Johnson, who was my dude coming from the College of Minnesota. I love me some Tyler Johnson. His career just has not materialized. He's coming from those Los Angeles Rams. Malachi Corley, and then Mason Taylor is the rookie tight end that they did draft. So when you're talking about how these New York Jets fared last year with some of their, weapons, I mean, quote-unquote weapons, they are a lesser cast of crew. I mean, let's be real. Out the door is Davante, so we know, at least for the positive, that Garrett Wilson is the unquestionable leader of this wide receiver room, and we knew that anyway. That's a good positive that he should still get majority of the target share. When Allen Lazard is on the field, he's not a terrible wide receiver. He's a good wide receiver, too. He can at least make a lot of plays and draw some attention to his direction. I mean, how are we going to see Josh Reynolds? He's had an up-and-down career. Tyler Johnson, will he ever become anything? And then Malachi Corley's got a lot of speed, a lot of juice, could be that slot dynamo that these Jets are looking for. So lots of moving parts for this team at this point. Reynolds did deal with some level of injury last year, only caught one reception, and he was done for the season. So this is kind of a, hope and attempt to get him on the team and at least make some plays for this offense, man. Where Tyler Johnson, 26 receptions for 291 and 1 touchdown. Like I said, all meek statistical performances from these gentlemen. So somebody's got to step up and assist a Garrett Wilson. I got my money, obviously, on an Allen Lazard, but we should be able to see at least one more of these gentlemen be that guy, and it could be rookie Mason Taylor, because he is definitely a dynamo. Corley and Gibson stats meek as well. But Arian Smith, wide receiver coming from the Georgia Bulldogs, he is one of my dudes as well. The only problem with this man, he's got track speed for days. He's a lanky, tall wide receiver. The problem with him is he's got a massive dropping problem, and that I don't know if can ever be rectified. If your hands are like bricks, I mean, it's very rare to see players break out of that funk when it comes to being a consistent ball catcher. So we will see. Arian Smith, he's got so much talent, so much ability. You go turn on that Georgia Bulldogs tape, and you're going to see what I say, but the dropping problem, I just don't know if he's ever going to get away from that. But I mean, talking about Mason Taylor, let's give this man some praise as well. LSU draft pick. He is probably one of the most fluid running tight ends I have ever seen in my life, man. Good bloodlines. Dad played in the NFL as well. Jason Taylor for those Miami Dolphins. But Mason Taylor is so damn fluid, this man. If he can perfect his route tree, perfect his game, I'm telling y'all, he could be a huge get for these New York Jets, making a 1-2 punch, something like could be Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride in Arizona. We could see very similar type of skill sets here in New York, where they utilize the tight end, run the football really well, and Garrett Wilson is the alpha wide receiver. That's what we're talking about here in New York with Mason Taylor. I'm a huge fan. It's unfortunate he's playing for the enemy, but I'm telling y'all, I got to be always on bias. Mason Taylor, you go watch that gauntlet drill. I mean, it's littered all over his tape. Watch the gauntlet drill, though, at the combine, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. This guy was running on that line like he was glued to it. Such a fluid runner, and you guys know me. I love my fluidity in my any pass catcher running backs. You definitely got to have it. But we're talking for ranking purposes for fantasy football. Here's where it does get very interesting. Where do we evaluate a Garrett Wilson moving forward this season? Wide receiver, right now his ADP is wide receiver 15, overall 32. So he is relatively high up there that we can get him in the middle stages of the 4th round-ish type of thing, if not earlier in the draft. But T. Higgins, wide receiver 12. Jackson Smith-Njigba at wide receiver 13. Tyreek Hill, 14. Garrett Wilson slots in at 15. We got Davante Adams at 16. And Big Mike Evans at wide receiver 17. This does bode to say, a lot of question marks. What do we do with a Garrett Wilson? If I'm telling y'all right now my honest opinion when we talk about potential upside here, I could take every single one of these gentlemen above a Garrett Wilson at this point. T. Higgins signed his new contract. He does fall into that mold of injury history problems as well. So you will say, there is an argument to be had for reliability and health when it comes to T. Higgins over Garrett Wilson. But I'm telling y'all right now, based on the fact of how this Cincinnati Bengals offense is moving, T. Higgins definitely. Jack Smith-Njigba over Garrett Wilson. I'm in for it, man. You're talking about Sam Darnold with Cooper Kupp and JSN. They are going to nickel and dime everybody down the field with this slot wide receiver room that they do have at this point. I'm taking the PPR upside for a JSN all day long. Tyreek Hill, potential big-time bounce-back campaign. Could be his last season in Miami, and then we'll see. Could he be vying for at least one more bag leaving Miami if they do fail and falter this year? Tyreek Hill should have a massive bounce-back, barring the health on a Tua Tagovailoa as well. If Tua takes one more headshot, we're going to see a very similar season to what we saw last year with a Tyreek Hill, but I'm taking Tyreek over Garrett at this point. Devontae Adams at number 16, 110%. I'm taking him over a Garrett Wilson. I love the potential and prospects of him playing with a Matthew Stafford, and I think it could just, generate points on the weekly. He says he's rejuvenated, and that's a good thing for one of the hardest working wide receivers in the league in a Devontae Adams. Give me Devontae over Garrett Wilson. Big Mike Evans. Again, man, staple of consistency. This man does nothing but find the end zone, get 1,000 yards. I'm definitely encouraged and will take, and the way Baker's been throwing the football, 4,000-yard plus seasons, back-to-back years, 73 TDs. Give me a Big Mike Evans over a Garrett Wilson. So at this point, we could say maybe he's a little bit too high on the consensus ADP. But at this point, I'm telling y'all right now, with all the circumstances that we do see in New York, it is a definite big problem, man. Rodgers outfields in as quarterback, like I said. Now we see, the biggest positive from Justin Fields playing with these New York Jets is that the chemistry is already built between these two gentlemen. They were both playing for Ohio State, the Ohio State Buckeyes, back in the day. So, it's not like they're going to need a lot of time to get reacquainted and build that chemistry back on the field. So that is a big positive where Justin Fields was able to throw lights out at OSU. And I think that they're going to be able to get back on the same page relatively quickly. New coach, new system definitely is something to watch and understand. Will they be, more run heavy RPO sets with a Justin Fields? Will they allow a Justin Fields to throw the football? That is another big question mark. We saw what Pittsburgh did, put the shackles on Justin Fields. So we'll see if the Jets coaching staff will allow him to throw the football quite a bit. Lesser depth chart on the wide receiver. Like I'm saying, can Justin Fields support a 150 target wide receiver? That's the question. Can he force feed one guy? Throughout his entire NFL career, his short NFL career, we did see a Darnell Mooney get 140 targets in 2021 when Justin Fields did play 12 games. But, Justin Fields only completed 159 completions that year, so it is a question mark. We saw Andy Dalton spell out to Justin Fields from time to time as well that season. So, the fact that Darnell Mooney could get 140 targets, and at least it was supported by a Justin Fields to some degree, is encouraging. But, at this point, has he even supported a 100-target wide receiver at this point? No, he has not. So this is another question mark on why I'm saying Garrett Wilson isn't the problem. It's what is this pass game going to be here in New York to help support a Garrett Wilson, man? Will this offense be more run heavy? Stat regression for a Garrett Wilson? It's definitely on tap. We could see one of his worst seasons as an NFLer, but I still got praise for Justin Fields. I think he's a better quarterback than a lot of people give him credit for. They just got to build this team around what he does well and allow him to make the mistakes and learn and maybe throw the football just a little bit more. Garrett will mask a lot of inadequacy that a Justin Fields does possess, but we will see. There should be some level of stat regression. So my projected stats and projected boom rate for Garrett Wilson this year, threw it into my model, spit out 17 games, 130 targets for 89 receptions, 1,040 yards, and 6 TDs. That's good enough for wide receiver 17, 184.5 points, and a boom rate of 50.9. That is all projected boom rate and statistical achievement this year with a Justin Fields, not knowing how this offense is going to move. I could even say that could be a little high. We could see somewhere in the realm of 73 receptions, 900 yards, and maybe 5 touchdowns. That would jump him all the way down to wide receiver like 25, 27 if he does fail to get that mark. So it is going to be contingent on the fact how many touchdowns can a Garrett Wilson score this year to be that much more fantasy relevant. Am I out on a Garrett Wilson? No, I'm not out on him, but the value definitely has to be there. If he falls in the draft, then I will get him at a respectable level, but where he is currently right now for ADP-wise, consensus ADP-wise, I just can't touch it. It is too rich for my blood, and there is a lot more wide receivers that I'm coveting in that spot. But there you have it. That is Garrett Wilson on the draft guide. What do we do with him? I think I kind of spelled it out for you. I'm waiting for him to drop down the board to gain that value just a little bit more until we realize what Justin Fields is. Could he be a sleeper? Sure, man. But I mean, are you willing to take that gamble? Because then you would have to hedge bet with a lot more wide receivers. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts. Like I said, draft guide giveaway. Like, comment, and subscribe to get entered into this contest, and I will pick a winner at the end of the week's shows. But we'll see you next time. I am out.